creating patterns in Photoshop. Okay, so there's several steps to creating great looking patterns in Photoshop. And I'm going to run through them with you now. Okay, so we start with a motif of some kind. I'm going to grab this and do some kind of, I'm going to use my transform, my T, to create a cool little repeating pattern. Just make sure, once again, you're on the right layer for whatever you are working with. I'm going to move things around to create my top hat. Repeat. Okay, so you'll see that this looks fine on my screen, but it's not going to be repeating great because I'm just going to have this natural box around it, which I do not want. So the way to handle that is the very useful function called offset. And where are you? There we go. I'll make you a little bit different. Apple T, Command T. There we go. Okay, so offset is hidden under filter, other, and offset. So it's way down at the bottom there. And what it does is it basically resets your edges of your artboard like that. Oops. Okay, I want to make sure I'm not on a specific layer. Otherwise, it will only offset it on that one layer. Okay, let's try that again. Filter. All right, I'm going to flatten my image because it does not seem to be wanting to offset everything. So I'm going to just flatten it down with merge layers. So it's one layer. Okay, let's try this again. Filter, other, offset. Much better. So basically what I'm doing is I am taking the edges and moving them around a little bit. There we go. And then what I'm going to want to do is just grab one of our selection tools. In this case, I think I'm fine with lasso. And I'm just going to grab you. Oops. And just fill in some of those holes like that. And then maybe I'll do this. Last, see that. Control C, Control V. And oops. All right. This way, when I go to define the pattern, it will give me a nice repeat. Okay. So I'm now going to select all. And then I am going to grab my patterns. I want to define pattern here. There we go. So edit, define pattern. So what that's going to do is it's going to create a new pattern that will, I'm going to call this top hat. And you will see that will pop up into my patterns palette on the right-hand side. Okay. Now, these are some other palettes that I have, or some other patterns that I have created. Now, the way pattern works is, let's do another. I'm actually going to change my background on this one. So I'm going to head back to my layers and I'm going to give myself a nice rich red background, but I want to put in a layer in between. I'm going to do edit, fill, foreground color, first of all, which should give me a lovely rich red background. Stunning. Okay, so once again, I'm going to Control A, select all, edit, define pattern. So that's the pull down menu from the top, edit, and it's define pattern. There we go. I'm going to call this top hat red. And if I check my patterns, once again, it will show up. And then if I go into a new document, anything, I can either fill the whole document or I can make a selection and then I can edit, fill with pattern. And then I'm going to tell it what I want to fill it with. And okay, there we go. So that's part one of working with patterns.